Hello and welcome to episode 64 of the XboxEra Podcast. I'm Sicker Mechanico and I'm joined as usual by a special Nick.
What's going on?
And Figments.
Hey everybody.
And for once, it's been a fairly quiet Xbox week, which I'm actually moderately pleased by. But before we dive into anything, I just witnessed England play a good game of football. And now we're in the quarterfinals for the Euros. Like, I don't give a crap about football, but I presume that people that listen might. So if you like football, yay!
I don't anymore. I did a little bit more back in 2004 when Greece won the Euro, but
after that, you didn't care so much, yeah? So wait, do you get to like pick whether you're going to support Greece or Australia, like depending on who's winning?
Depending on who's there at the time.
Fair.
But I mean, Australia wouldn't be in the Euro anyway.
No, it wouldn't.
If they both happen to be in the World Cup at the same time, that's an interesting question.
Who would you root for above? Like,
if they were playing each other, like I remember years ago, Greece and Australia played a friendly.
Yeah.
And they had it here. They played it at the MCG here. I do admit I went for Greece. Because Greece is like the underdog, smaller than everyone else.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah. Before we dive into the news of the week, have you guys been playing any of those pesky video games lately?
Yep. Have I? Yep. Doom Eternal. I started playing Doom Eternal.
The Game Pass
Series X
version? And the Series
No,
X
I bought it. I bought it on sale in preparation for the next gen upgrade. And started playing that. It's really good. It's funny. The Series X update broke a couple of things. Like it broke Quick Resume. It broke the tile, the actual game tile. But it's since been fixed. So Quick Resume is back and the game tile is now the proper game tile again.
They changed that quickly.
The game is so hard. It is so hard. Like, I'm playing it on I'm Too Young to Die, the baby version.
Yep.
And man, it's still really hard, even on I'm Too Young to Die.
Your butt?
Oh my god, I don't even want to attempt it on anything higher than that. It's so hard.
I have to admit, I think I'm just too old. Like, my reflexes are just... I watch people that are really good at the gameplay and they're like just spinning around doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I can't keep up even on easy. I'm like, it's a struggle. So yeah, but it looks gorgeous. The ray tracing mode was very impressive.
I've got it in 120.
Oh, you got... yeah, you've got a TV that supports 120.
Yeah, 120 is so good.
I've been looking at TVs, and shout out to anyone listening to this podcast. If you're in the UK particularly, and you think you can find me a 75-inch-ish or larger, decent, good for gaming telly for my lounge, it doesn't have to be
the OLED.
The LG OLED. No, wait, there's an extra part to the sentence for about 800 quid.
Oh, God.
It's not going to be an OLED. Not for that little amount of money. Yeah.
How much are the Samsung QLEDs?
Still not 800 quid.
Still really expensive.
Yeah. I just...
and they're the only two TVs worth getting, though.
Yeah, well...
I don't know. I recently picked up a Vizio 55-inch OLED, and it's working pretty well for me.
Well, to be fair...
Does the UK have Vizio?
Yeah, but what's important here is to note is this is not my main daily gaming driver, right? This is my family lounge TV, but I want it to have some gaming application, in there for the occasional...
Some gaming acumen
in
its portfolio.
Thank you for correcting me on my English.
We're very corporate at XboxEra.
We are literally the most uncorporate. We have no job titles. We're just doing the best we can with what we got, and I love it. But yeah, in terms of what I've been playing, I'm trying to think now. I've been still solidly going through Mass Effect 2. Just did Shadow Broker, and I'm now doing Grunt's mission. Got to see Rex again. Was cool. And I also tried out. Oh man, now I'm forgetting what it's even called, and it's completely escaped my brain. If it pops in, I'll let you guys know. But that's about it for me. Still just ploughing through ME2. What about you, Figments? You been playing anything exciting or new? Dare I ask?
Well, these last 3 weeks have been pretty exciting, considering Scarlet Nexus came out, I think, last week or a week and a half ago. The demo did not do that game justice. I played the demo and I thought it was one of the most boring games I'd ever played. But the full game actually feels really fun to play, and the story is really interesting too.
Interesting.
So honestly, like if anyone out there is looking to play Scarlet Nexus and hasn't picked it up yet, don't play the demo. The demo will like completely like it will throw you off. It is such a bad vertical slice of the game that is ridiculous. Scarlet Nexus, that's pretty much been it. Because I'm pretty much waiting for Monster Hunter Stories 2 to release next week on Nintendo Switch.
Fair enough.
I'm going to be playing that a lot. So
I love
I played the
guilt-free admission.
I played the first one on my phone, believe it or not, because it came out for iOS I think a couple months after the 3DS release, way back when the first game came out. They never updated it with controller support, which is a bummer, but it was fine. It's whatever. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the sequel. It's coming out next week, I think on a Thursday. And that's pretty much been it. Now, I verified this with the list of things we have to talk about for the last 3 weeks, but you were wrong when you said we don't have anything newsworthy this week, John.
I said there's been a little less news than usual.
True.
A little less news.
But we did get Xbox Series X support on XCloud.
Yes. Yep. That's the biggest, probably the biggest announcement from Microsoft this week was that everything is now on Series X blades, and that was actually, funny enough, going to be the next thing I mentioned. That was the other thing that I couldn't remember.
Oh, okay.
I'd picked up and tried a few things on XCloud, and the difference in performance comparatively, and I don't know if anyone ever checked it out. I did a video back when it was in beta last year, maybe the year before. I can't even remember now how long it's been out. And it was okay. I went through a couple of things and showed people the ropes.
It was rudimentary.
Yeah. But being on the Series X or with the SSD and everything else, the fast loading times, the difference is just it's
mind blowing.
Yeah, it's vast. It's
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I tried playing Yakuza Like a Dragon on my phone before the Series X upgrade, and it was laggy. It was slow. It didn't perform all that well. It just felt like serviceable, but meh. I wouldn't go back to it.
Yeah.
But tried it again after it was announced earlier this week that it was on the Series X blades, and my God, it's like the night and day difference. It loads faster. It starts faster. You get into the game faster. It's more consistent performance.
Yeah.
Like, it's just input lag is way reduced from before, because now that low input latency tech that they got in the Series X is working really, really hard on those blades.
It's very nice.
It's such a.
I wouldn't know.
The thing that sucks is I think it's still limited to 720p 30, right? For like what gets streamed to your phone.
No, 1080p 60 now.
1080 60.
Okay, cool.
Yep, which is great. Not in Australia.
Not that I'd know.
Yeah, I know. I feel you, bro.
Oh yeah, how's living in the last country to get anything, Nick?
Yeah, and yet the country that spends the most.
Yeah, go figure.
Funny that, isn't it?
Yeah, XCloud is good. We mentioned it a little bit when we spoke on with Jez last week. In that the name is stupid and they should just call it XCloud and not Xbox
Might as well
game
now.
streaming. But whatevs, it's okay. The other interesting, and this isn't really news. This is like hearsay. This is rumor. But our favorite long-haired American, that's not Figments. Jeff Grubb, he dropped a little bit of news via VentureBeat earlier this week in that the rumored Kojima Xbox game deal that would be
a bit closer.
cloud game is edging ever closer, in that there's a letter of intent signed. What does that mean?
Oh yeah, I did hear about that.
What does that mean? It basically is we agree to investigate the partnership and let the legal folks do their thing. So it's interesting. I saw the petition to.
Yeah.
Do you guys see this? Right?
I didn't. What petition for what?
There's a petition from
to cancel the game.
From angry Kojima fans that feel he's betrayed his PlayStation roots and should immediately
they're not
cancel.
angry Kojima fans. They're not angry Kojima fans.
What are they?
If they were Kojima fans, they wouldn't care.
Oh,
they're PlayStation fans.
Oh yeah, they'd play the game wherever it came out.
If they were fans of Kojima, they should be happy that a company as rich and irresponsible with their money is throwing that money at Kojima. If they were Kojima fans,
irresponsible with their money, huh?
When it comes to funding a Kojima game, perhaps.
Yeah, like they are PlayStation fans that are upset that he's not making a PlayStation exclusive. That's all that is.
Boo-hoo.
That's all that is.
The funny thing is, I literally couldn't care less. Yeah, I'll watch whatever bizarre reveal trailer it gets with mild curiosity.
I care if it's a horror game.
I just hope it doesn't take 5 years to announce, and every E3 up till then we get another trailer, like for Death Stranding.
If it's a horror game, I care. If it's a horror game, or if it's a spy stealth action.
Or what if
game,
What if it's a Strand type game?
No.
If it's another Death Stranding type weird game, I could not care less.
It was the world's first Strand type game, John.
Well, I think the unique thing about this is, he gave a bunch of interviews about, that whole I've invented a new genre strat. Whatever you may think about Death Stranding, he was trying something different, something new, right? I don't think it landed. I haven't played it, right? So who am I to judge? But I have no interest in playing it because it just does not look like my cup of tea at all. So
you always play the deluxe edition, director's cut, whatever the hell it's called, that's coming out.
There's lots of director's cuts coming out, isn't there? Lots of director's cuts.
Was there another game that got a director's cut? Was there?
Yeah.
Look. To be fair, my source was wrong on something. That they indicated to me that it would be standalone, and it's not. Now, don't get me wrong; they could still break it off and sell it standalone. But
why call it a director's cut? Oh, by the way, I think did we even mention it was Ghost of Tsushima?
I think the audience could probably put it together.
The funny thing is, when they first reached out to me, they didn't say Ikishima. My source just said it's expansion set on Iki Island. And I was like, can I post a picture of Iki Island? They're like, it's way too early.
Oh.
But then a few days later, and then someone else reached out to me with the Ikishima name, and then da-da-da-da-da. But so there was some confusion there. But,
I don't like that they're using the director's cut terminology because it implies this is content that never made it in the base game. We're releasing it to you now, and it's like, no, this is just DLC.
Yeah, well,
you're literally selling DLC to everyone.
I love the box art for it though. The box art.
It does look very pretty.
Oh no, the box art's
so
fantastic.
Nice.
But just can you just call it I don't know, a deluxe edition or something? Like what it actually
I know.
would imply.
We know for a long time now, right, that if you want Hollywood blockbusters, PlayStation is the place to go, right?
For now.
And well, why wouldn't they lean into that Hollywood image, right? And director's cut is great terminology for them, and I think we're going to see more and more of them. I think we'll see Last of Us 2 director's cut later on.
Yeah, Last of Us. I've been waiting on Last of Us for a long time. I still haven't bought that game. We're waiting on whatever that PS5 rip-off edition is.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing, and that did cause a bit of a stir this week, right? In that we've seen Microsoft release updates across the board for all of their recent first-party games, and even some older ones. Gears 5 got Hive Busters, which is a sizable chunk of DLC for free, and arguably Microsoft didn't market it enough, but what they definitely didn't do
was it free?
It was free, yeah.
Was Hive Busters free?
It came with Game Pass. I'm pretty sure it was free.
Game Pass.
And that's a good point. Did you have to buy? I'll have to Google that one. I might do that in a second. But I guess for the Game Pass subscriber, it was just there you go. We had Forza Horizon 4 got a 4K 60 series. I mean, look, let's be honest. All of them. Doom, we just spoke about. Here's your big update. it makes me laugh a little bit that there are so many customers out there, consumers that are like, you want to charge me, and it's even really confusing, right? Because it's like, if you're on PS4 and you buy it, it's $20, but if you want the PS5 version, you want to upgrade the whole game, it's $30. But if you're on PS5, it's $30. I don't know. I don't care enough, but it just strikes me as odd that there are so many customers out there that are like, yeah, here's what, when you see other competitors out there.
Does it really strike you as odd?
I would. Why aren't people demanding more from their trillion-dollar companies? Anybody?
Because
like demand more
fanboys.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
But they're just mindless fanboys.
It's okay, but it's the same phenomenon of why people like stand for Elon Musk so hard, and it's just
it's weird.
I don't understand why people care so much about the opinions of a billionaire or a $1 trillion company. But you know what? I'm not at liberty to know why fanboys are fanboys.
I've said it before. Nintendo fans are begrudgingly loyal. They don't like what Nintendo does, but they just deal with it.
Yeah.
The Xbox fans don't like it and don't deal with it.
Yeah.
They complain to high heaven because they know that everyone will hear it at Xbox.
Yep.
And Sony fans love it, take it, and ask for more. That's just how it's always been.
Man, even Push Square, like, ripped them apart a little bit over all the recent uprising. Like, I think and that, that's when Push Square are saying, hey, actually this isn't okay. And then I think I saw another article from them on Brazilian price increases, which is 33% in price increases in Brazil compared to everywhere else. It's like, why?
Well, hold on. Australia got 30% as well.
Oh, well, you guys as well. Like, why? It's weird. I don't know, man.
Because, like I just said it.
Yeah.
Sony knows that their fans will take it and accept it and ask for more. Why would I've said it on this podcast like 87 times? Like,
it's funny though.
We've only had 64 episodes.
With all the recent coverage Push Square has been doing, because let's be real, there hasn't been a lot of good news coming out of Sony for a couple months now, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what else can they do? And there was, with the acquisition of Nixxes and Housemarque. But like, I've been hearing like a bunch of people starting to say Push Square is like anti-PlayStation. They shouldn't be doing PlayStation coverage anymore.
I saw a comment from there.
Apparently, Rosetta is anti-PlayStation as well.
Bizarre. Yeah. It's weird. People, you're too invested.
Yeah, man. People can't go on Reset, the biggest PlayStation centric forum on the planet, because it's not friendly to the PlayStation users anymore.
Like
PlayStation.
Rosetta is so anti-PlayStation that we exist.
Yeah.
Because it's so anti-PlayStation.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been and that's not the only negative news story, right? You were just saying 2 months worth of negative news stories. There was the other one, and I don't think it's actually in our list, but I'm going to bring it up anyway, which was the indie developer that went on a bit of a Twitter tirade.
Good on him.
Yeah, like he was like, I'm so angry and annoyed at this. I don't care how many bridges I burn. And he just went to town on Platform X, which everyone, when I first read that, I was like, well, that's going to be Nintendo. And then I was like, oh, it's not. It's PlayStation.
Really? Why would it be Nintendo?
Because, man, my hatred for Nintendo's online backend. I just had to presume, but then...
Yeah, but online backend, from what we see as users, doesn't necessarily mean like the backend that indie developers.
That was my first thought.
Nintendo
has been behind indies since the Wii.
Yeah,
they never stopped.
They have such fantastic indie relations and have had them for so long. It's just ridiculous at this point. Like, I expect no bad news to come out of relationships with indie dev and Nintendo, especially when it came out this past week that one indie dev said like 90% of their sales or something. I'm probably like ballparking the figure super hard here. It was like 90% of their sales came from the Switch, but the same game released on PlayStation got like 4% of their overall sales.
Yeah.
Indies don't really sell on PlayStation anymore, and for good reason, because Sony doesn't care about them anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. People kept pointing back to 2013. Oh, PlayStation was loving indies. No, they weren't.
They just didn't have their own games ready.
Understand something. Leading into 2013, third parties weren't accepting Sony's money hats because Xbox was the US market leader.
Yeah.
And PlayStation launched with no games. They had no choice but to love indies. As soon as Microsoft shot themselves in the mouth and handed PlayStation the generation from day one, they didn't have to worry about indies anymore because then all the money hats were being accepted by everyone, and they struck gold with The Last of Us and said, hey, let's make these AAA blockbusters non-stop. And the rest is history. Like, PlayStation will never go back to indies now. While their current strategy remains wildly successful by certain metrics, they will not bother with indies anymore.
And
in that same way.
Compare that to the strides Xbox has been making ever since the Idea at Xbox program came out, with quality indies coming on board. They showcase a lot of indies at almost every single one of their events. Like they put a platform and a spotlight on these games, and that's, at least now we know, all of that was to build relations likely for Game Pass. You know, having that content filler. Just, you know, I'm not trying to imply that the games are filler, but just like padding out the amount of games you can play on Game Pass.
It's interesting.
While Microsoft gets their own games out, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was having this conversation with One Bad Mother, who's one of our team, earlier today or yesterday, I can't remember, and I actually struck a thought in me. I was like, you know, if you think about what indies are, as much as Microsoft came out just before the E3 show and said, we want to get to a point where we're releasing one big game from Microsoft first party a quarter, and we're going to acquire and grow our studios until we get to that point. If you really think about it, indies are the lifeblood, the beating heart of Game Pass. Because, man, every month there's a cool indie game coming out that I know I'm going to download and play. Yeah, it might be an 8-hour game or a 5-hour game or a 20-hour game. I don't care. I know I'm going to go and play it because it's part of my subscription and it looks freaking cool and it's different and it's unique and yada, yada, yada. And now, if I look ahead at the next 6 months, there are a ton of those. That's the lifeblood. You know, yes, I'm going to play Halo Infinite and I'm going to download Flight Sim on console and I'm going to, you know, play Starfield next year, all of that stuff. I'm going to play the big games, but between those, I'm hammering those indies because that's my favorite kind of type of game.
The big blockbusters hold the subscription together, but without those indie games filling out the gaps, like in between your Halo and your Sea of Thieves and your Gears of War and your Forza, you got to have those little bite-sized snacks to keep you fed while you're waiting for the next game, you know?
Yep.
And it's just,
I love it. I love the value it gives me.
I think we're going to see Microsoft get even better with their indie support as we go on. Like all the stuff they've announced for Windows 11 too, just to help games and gaming in general, and getting that attention to Xbox. Like that's just going to help out Game Pass so much over the next generation.
For sure.
You know?
For sure.
But the thing is, it's funny though. Like those indies still come out on PlayStation. Yeah. And just no one buys them. It's just further lends credence. They do what Sony tells them. And Sony tells them AAA blockbuster. So that's all they buy.
Yeah.
They don't buy anything else.
It's interesting. It's an interesting genre. You know, I guess it's just a big shift at the moment. Everything feels like the launch window that you would traditionally see at the beginning of a generation has just been dragged and stretched to be like a year long. You know? And it's like watching it in slow motion a little bit, and it's fascinating, and I'm enjoying it a little bit. Speaking of independent developers, a certain independent developer named Bloober
was organically acquired.
No, I'm getting to the acquisitions later. I was going to talk about
acquired. Yeah, that phrase only works with PlayStation fans. Nick,
they were acquired very organically. Yeah. So organic how they just bought them. Really organic.
Well, the money that they bought them with was grown from trees.
Yeah, exactly. It was an organic process when Phil opened up Microsoft's pocketbook and wrote the check delivered to the city.
You know, PlayStation organically grows their studios. They don't just randomly buy them. They organically grow them.
Well, I was going to talk about Bloober, but I guess we're talking about the PlayStation acquisitions then. So fine.
Well, we're on a PlayStation train anyway. We may as well keep it going.
Yeah, that's true.
So PlayStation organically grew their studios this last week by flat out buying Housemarque and Nixxes.
Yeah.
Which I was glad.
Good for Housemarque and Nixxes.
How many times have I said right here that Returnal was that audition for acquisition to show that they could make a Sony game?
It worked beautifully for Housemarque because it looks like they passed their audition. So
it looks like they were successful in their audition, which is good. And Nixxes is another, I think, a good buy for different reasons. Like, obviously, they didn't buy them to make a game, I assume.
Oh, no.
This is just to port all their AAA stuff, right?
They're a port, tech support kind of studio. Like, they did a lot of the Tomb Raider ports to PlayStation.
Titanfall to the 360, if memory serves.
No, that was Bluepoint.
Was it Bluepoint?
The main thing with Nixxes that was interesting was that they are well known for their masterfully crafted PC ports of console games, which is very indicative of, Jim Ryan wanting to put more PlayStation exclusives on PC to get in that extra money. Oh yeah, we all knew it was going to happen. Yeah. The only people who thought that it wasn't going to happen were the deranged PlayStation fanboys who wouldn't shut up anyway. So
they'll also be a technical support studio. Yeah. Like, they helped get Killzone Shadowfall. See how good they are? They helped Killzone Shadowfall.
The Shadowfall stand strikes again.
I knew that's why I like that game.
What if Nixxes uses a studio to kind of bridge the gap from PC to PlayStation, to try and encourage more PC developers to migrate over to the PlayStation platform? That could also be what they want to use Nixxes expertise for.
They'll definitely be doing all their PC ports. 100% they'll be doing the PC ports.
It's definitely interesting, and obviously out of those two announcements, which came a couple of days before, Sony
there was
Japan,
an accidental
Twitter.
Third one.
Well, now this is interesting, right? Because, and for those that don't know, shortly after the first acquisition announced for Housemarque, Sony Japan's Twitter account released an image saying congratulations, but the image said Bluepoint.
Bluepoint. Wasn't that image first before Housemarque?
Yeah. It was announced during the Housemarque acquisition, but the image was Bluepoint and not Housemarque. Now, it suggests that, no one's going to just be made that image just for fun and have it in a bank.
You're not making that image if it's not done.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
But then here's what's interesting. Bluepoint's Twitter team went and changed all of their updates to say, we are a proud,
fully independent
development studio. And it's okay, did an intern jump the gun? What the hell?
I don't know.
I
jumped the gun. I've already updated the PlayStation Studios OT on XboxEra with Bluepoint in it, and I'm not taking it away. I'm just going to
leave it there. There you go. So if you want to pretend that Bluepoint has been acquired, just come and visit the XboxEra forums, PlayStation fans, and have a good time.
Yeah.
Just don't fanboy. It's really easy. Just talk about how much fun games are.
Having said that, if Bluepoint are being honest and truthful about the fact that they remain independent and fully funded and whatever, Phil should be knocking on their door or making the phone call or the Skype call.
Yeah.
I think.
With a very fluffy looking Banjo-Kazooie remaster.
And at the very least, that will have a repeat effect like Insomniac, where Sony will go, oops, we better buy them before Microsoft takes them.
Yeah.
One or the other. Because Bluepoint, again, like Nixxes, very talented, technically competent studio.
But they don't need Bluepoint.
Yeah, but if we're in a growth expansion.
You gotta think of the perspective of do they need Bluepoint? No, Sony needs Bluepoint more because Bluepoint's well, you're not getting what I'm saying here. Every single one of their studios already has a fairly competent PC support team at their back. At their beck and call. They don't need any more support studios when the studios are perfectly capable of handling all that support work themselves.
Okay.
That was what Microsoft was gearing towards.
Counter argument. Bluepoint's not a support studio. They are True. Bluepoint are known for for ports like Nixxes. Like they did the Titanfall Xbox 360 port.
The Demon Souls remaster.
Yeah, they did the Demon Souls remake.
Yeah, remake.
They did Metal Gear Solid HD Collection on 360. But Bluepoint have had ambitions for making their own game.
Yeah.
Where Nixxes have not. Nixxes are very open about the fact that they're very happy being a port studio and a support studio. They've been very, very open about that. Where Bluepoint said they'd like to make their own game. That's why I think Bluepoint would be good for Microsoft, because not only are they a very ridiculously talented team that wants to make their own game, something new, which Microsoft needs.
Yep.
They've shown with the Demon Souls remaster that they can also take an old game and make it something fresh and new again. Now, what do Microsoft have a lot of? They have a
games
big
that could
back catalogue of old IPs that they're not using.
Yep.
Maybe Bluepoint could just make a bunch of them.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be glorious?
You're not getting your Banjo-Kazooie remaster or remake. I'm sorry. You're just not.
I reckon we will one day.
One day.
One day we will.
One day when we're in the grave.
It's always good to see. It's always good to see Sony continuing to organically grow their studios.
Yeah.
And not just buy them.
But okay, so yes, there's a lot of uproar about acquisitions when Microsoft makes them. I didn't see any uproar about these acquisitions.
No.
I think they were expected and welcomed.
Yeah.
Right, good for the teams. If you are interested, dear viewer, dear listener, One Bad Mother, one of the team at XboxEra, did a really cool article about are acquisitions actually good for the industry and what does it mean and why is it happening so much now. It's a 12-minute video or a 12-minute read. Would wholeheartedly recommend go and check it out if you're intrigued on his opinions, because I think it's very well written and it touches on the crux of why all of this is happening, and that is because gaming is expanding and growing. We're not on this trend towards monopolization and all these different services, etc. We are going towards a point where for every game studio that's bought, 3 more are being created. It's an ever-growing forest. I just don't see the panic that a lot of people see, and I think it's definitely
half the time when high profile creative leads leave established studios bought by big publishers, they go and make their own new studio.
That's what
Casey Hudson.
Nick was just saying.
Dan Houser.
Yep, there's loads of them, and they're going to keep happening because the tools and the way that games are developed now have advanced so much that look at Stalker 2, GC Worlds, is it GC Worlds, GSC World, whatever they're called, the independent developer that did the trailer and are developing Stalker 2, which was on the E3 showcase. That was jaw-dropping. That was one of the most impressive-looking.
That was a better-looking Metro than Metro.
That's a small independent developer making that, but the tools have advanced so much that they can make stuff like that look incredible.
Right memory infinite. It's
one
dude.
guy.
One dude.
This is the change that's actually coming, and this is why, going back to the independent scene, this is why independent developers are so interesting, because they can take the creative risks that the AAA teams can't. And I say the AAA teams can't, and I think it's the job of a first-party AAA to take the big risks with their games. But independent developers just do cool stuff that we might never have seen before, and I love that.
The big risks, making an open world Ubisoft game.
Woo, risky. Anyway, we got all our acquisition talk nearly out of the way because there's one more little nugget. Seeing as we're talking about independent developers and all of that stuff, and there's kind of a couple of bits to this, right? In that
sort of out of nowhere. So one, we had apparently Jeff Grubb recently on one of his shows. I can't remember if it was on Giant Bomb, if it was on VentureBeat or GamesBeat. I think it was on VentureBeat.
But he mentioned that all these acquisitions going on. Obviously, everybody that's been paying attention to Xbox knows that right before E3 there was a big swell in insider circles about
a really big hullabaloo,
about acquisitions that Microsoft might be making. Lots and lots of names being thrown around, genuinely lots. And he came out and said, and Nick, I'm going to rely on you for the deets of this. What did Jeff actually say? What's who studios did he mention?
Hold on, let me find it.
Gonna find it.
That Idle Sloth Twitter account. Rumor Jeff Grubb has
so
heard
what
of
I'm
three...
hearing is. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Rumor Jeff Grubb has heard of 3 studios being acquired by MS. He says the rumors he's heard are all over the place, but the main 3 he's heard are IO, Avalanche, and Crytek. He's not confirming anything. He's just saying what he's heard. That they were 3 of the names that everyone heard prior to E3 as well.
Agreed.
But where things get interesting is
Chris Charla.
Chris Charla, the ID. Is he still the ID at Xbox guy?
He is still the ID at Xbox guy. Very nice chap as well.
Yeah, he's good. He put out a tweet and then deleted it not long after. And the tweet said, "Congrats on the acquisition."
And it wasn't replying to someone. It wasn't
replying to anyone.
It was just
saying it. Congrats on the acquisition. And he deleted it. And someone grabbed it. Like I'm looking at the screenshot right now.
I've seen a couple of them.
There's a person on our forum who I still don't know if they know stuff or don't know stuff or whatever. They put out a little thing that said, would be a nice day for a Microsoft acquisition. All those 3 things combined, I just wonder if there's something going on in the background or a deal is like imminent, like very close.
I think it's got to be. I wonder if we're going to be in for an interesting week.
All I'm hearing, honestly, with this acquisition talk on Microsoft's end is I'm going to need to have someone update the Microsoft acquisition tool that I posted in the XboxEra Discord a couple years ago.
Spin the wheel.
Unexpectedly, some of those choices actually came true, and I did not expect those to happen. So now we got to put other unrealistic choices in there.
I wonder if maybe this week we hear something.
Yeah.
Spin the wheel to find out who gets acquired next.
I just wonder, because I had said a while before E3 that I had heard they were trying to get stuff done prior to E3.
Yeah.
And we've just hit the end of financial year.
Yep.
This is where stuff can start to heat up, either the end of financial year or start of financial year.
Yeah. Fiscal year fiscal quarter ends?
Well, I think Microsoft's financial year ends in March, so they're Q2 now, I guess, or Q3. Yeah. So next week could be an interesting week. Let's just hold on to our butts and see what happens.
I just wonder. I just got a funny feeling. Look, if they were, let's say they were on that edge, right on that edge of acquiring someone. Who do you guess? Who are we guessing?
Well, I'm inclined to
Sega. Moving on.
I personally, I'm inclined to believe. I'm inclined to believe a number of the ones I've heard. Oh man, am I allowed to talk about all of the ones I've heard? Because this isn't from Nick. I want to make that clear. This is just what I have heard generally out there on the insider.
Well, I mean, a couple of them we heard from Jeff before E3, like NetherRealm and Rocksteady.
Yeah, NetherRealm, Rocksteady, IOI, Crytek,
IO, Avalanche, Crytek. Yeah, there's I think Traveler's Tales. I think it's a whole bunch. Monolith.
I know that there was recently announced that Microsoft have cozied up with AT&T with regards to moving their 5G network into Azure.
Yeah.
The AT&T are hurting. AT&T. They're hurting for cash.
AT&T.
Or rather, well, no, it's Warner Brothers, isn't it? Because AT&T bought Warner. That's it. Sorry, I'm trying to get.
But they've now sold them. Haven't they now sold them to Discovery?
Well, they're selling off all sorts of stuff. That's the thing, and that's why all of this is so interesting because, well, Microsoft want AAA games every quarter. Well, the only way you're going to achieve that, and it ain't with 23 studios, boys and girls, it's with lots more. So, how many of those rumors?
As long as they're acquired organically.
Yeah, using
as
organic.
Long as it's all done organically.
Organic sausages. I don't know.
The money tree grows out of Jim Ryan's wallet when he opens it.
I don't know.
Got to be organic.
I don't know anymore. But
they can't just buy them.
Not like, what is it? Is pasteurized considered organic? Like
No.
pasteurized money? Vegan acquisitions.
They need to use almond milk.
Yeah.
Either way, let's see. You know, when you're listening to this, dear viewer, dear listener, it's going to be a Sunday. You're going to be, well, for most people in the world, for you Australians, it'll be a Monday.
I guess, but... like, God forbid something comes out tomorrow when we like all wake up after the podcast has gone live and like something big has happened and then we just screwed ourselves.
Well,
you know?
I think, you know, just maybe it'll be an interesting week. Let's all just see what happens. You know,
so if there is one, if all those rumblings are happening for a reason, and that's because someone has either been acquired or about to be acquired, what are our guesses? I'm putting in my guess last.
I mean, my joke one was Sega, but like if in all like actuality, it'll probably be like IOI or Crytek are my number one guesses.
I would say that the strongest ones have got to be IOI, Avalanche, and you know, I'd like Crytek because I really, really want Rise 2. I really do.
I
really do. But yeah, those would be like, you know, NetherRealm and any of the Warner Brothers studios, it almost feels a little bit like pie in the sky, right? Because NetherRealm makes sense because, you know, I would presume if you bought that studio, you would be getting the Mortal Kombat IP with it, and you'd pay a fair chunk of change to do that.
You'd have to.
But with Rocksteady, as great a team as they are, and they really are, there are some seriously talented devs. They have only worked on licensed IPs. Now, whether that also comes with some sort of exclusive DC deal, you know, I don't know. But I just feel like
could you imagine if Microsoft got like a good big DC exclusive contract to work on like Superman and Batman? And
it'd be an interesting world we'd live in, wouldn't it? But yeah, I just feel like they're a little bit
great for Game Pass. Holy crap!
They'd be a little bit pie in the sky for me. Those two. Yeah. Would be cool and interesting to see. And, you know, yeah, there would be uproar because Mortal Kombat has been a multi-platform IP for as long as I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
But, hey, I think, what was the phrase you used last podcast?
So has Street Fighter, and Sony managed to get Street Fighter 5 exclusive to PlayStation 4.
Right.
So
that's fair, right? But what was the phrase you used last week, Nick? Microsoft have got to be pricks.
Yeah, they got to be pricks.
There you go. You got to be pricks, guys.
Yeah, I think IOI or Avalanche. If it's a couple, that's the thing. If we don't know,
we don't know.
It's because Jeff mentioned 2 or 3, but then no one else has been specific on numbers.
Do you think so? IOI owns the Hitman IP now, right? Like they bought that from Square.
No.
Square still
no.
Then
Square.
Okay,
I think Square
IOI
owns
is still an incredibly talented developer, but like Hitman is a huge IP, and not having that kind of sucks.
I think they'd find a way to get that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, IO has the exclusive rights to make Hitman. So they don't own the IP, but there's a deal in place where they're the only ones that can make it. So I assume Microsoft would get exclusivity on Hitman through association.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think it was Jez or Miles that had said, like, the reason I think IO or Avalanche is if you're doing these projects with them, Contraband and whatever Project Dragon is, and they're long-term projects, so it's like a second-party situation, it would make sense to acquire them so you don't end up with a double helix Killer Instinct situation or whatever the case may be. Like, it would make more sense.
It's going to be fun.
Interesting.
So yeah, there you go. That's I guess all of our acquisition talk out of our systems. The last thing, the segue that never was.
We need a jingle for acquisition talk now, John. You need to get on that.
No. But the segue that never was.
Make it Wheel of Fortune.
Was Bloober and Konami. This news dropped out earlier this week. Thousands of crazed Silent Hill fans suddenly screamed out in terror, apparently, because a team that reveres the IP is working on their dream, possibly. Bear in mind, it's not been confirmed that they're working on Silent Hill, but
they're working on.
They're probably working on
they're
Silent
working
Hill.
on Silent Hill.
They're screaming either because it's not Kojima, or it's because Bloober hasn't really released a banger yet.
This rumor was me taking my first steps towards learning what to leak and what not to leak, regardless of what I know, to avoid attacks on social media. Because I knew about the Bloober. I knew about the Bloober Silent Hill thing a while ago, and I never said it. Have you ever heard me say anything about Bloober working on Silent Hill?
You still get attacked on Twitter all the time for literally everything.
But imagine what I would have copped. Imagine what I would have copped online if I had said Bloober's working on Silent Hill. Imagine what I would have copped. So that was one of those ones where I was like, nope, I don't care that I know this. I ain't saying jack about it. I'll just let this one come out all on its own organically and let it get out there, and people can get upset on their own.
Wasn't Japan Studio the studio that has now been disbanded by Sony working on Silent Hill?
Yeah, apparently. Mm-hmm. And now apparently there's 3 Silent Hill games.
My goodness.
Somehow we went from one being made to now that it appears it's not going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive made by a first-party studio. Now there's 3 of them.
Whoa!
Now,
chill, man.
Do we know if they're confirmed original games or remakes?
We don't know
or
anything.
Remasters?
All that's been announced is a partnership between Bloober and Konami. That's all that's been announced.
Okay. Yeah, that's all we got. But the rumor of the rumor of Silent Hill has been out there, but it's always been driven by it's going to be Japan studio. It's definitely happening.
But there's no Japan studio anymore.
Yeah, but Bloober, I think, borderline said something ages ago.
They
kind of alluded to it ages ago.
Wasn't the composer that worked on the Medium the guy who did the music for Silent Hill? I'm pretty sure.
I think so. I think they have people on their team or someone on their team who worked on Silent Hill or something like that.
But even the Medium in its, I don't know, just generally Bloober's games, a lot of them seem to take a lot of inspiration from, and I get it. There's a fair bit of criticism. Not all of their games have been these amazing experiences, but look, they clearly really, really want to do this, and I don't think it's fair to discount. I get it. You're only as good as the last game you released. Yeah, and if you release a flop, then everyone's going to doubt you. But again, you could have that Killer Instinct double helix situation where I
always go back to double helix.
But it's a great example because no one expected. No one knew that game was coming when it got announced. Everyone was like, "What?" But then when it was really, really good, people were like, "Wow!" And then they lost the developer. Boom, gone. But that was a team that came together, had a vision, executed.
And they did Strider as well, and Strider was great.
Yeah. So interesting. But yeah, there you go.
You don't just write them off.
No.
Give them a chance. I'm guessing if they're working on Silent Hill, they're doing it now with the backing, with big publisher money backing, which I think would be the first time. Yeah, they've probably had some help here and there from Microsoft with Blair Witch or whatever else. They've probably got little cash injections here and there from other publishers, depending on what they were doing and what their deals were. But this would be the first time that they have a quote unquote big publisher backing them.
Yeah.
So give them a chance. If they make Silent Hill with Konami's backing and it turns out terrible, no worries. Feel free to write them off for the future. But to me, and now as an example of this, I use Obsidian. Very, very, to me, almost on that same path Bloober are currently on. You look at Obsidian's games when they were self-funding and they were kind of But then you looked at Obsidian's games when they had big publishers behind them and look how good they were. Look at South Park's Stick of Truth is so good. So good. And they had Ubisoft's money then.
Yeah.
Outer Worlds. I haven't played it. Reportedly a very good game. Yep. Once again, Take-Two's backing.
Grounded. 12 people. Really, really good survival game.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe give Bloober a chance. Maybe when Bloober has big publisher money behind them, they'll make something truly great.
Yeah.
Just relax. You already gave that poor Hassan dude shit because Abandoned wasn't Silent Hill. Just calm down, psychos.
Yeah.
Just relax,
Calm
you
down,
psychopaths.
psychos.
Oh, they're just psychopaths. Like, seriously, some people are they're sick in the head. Like, it's just video games, man. This poor guy had to, like, put out videos, like, of himself going, guys, I'm not making Silent Hill. I'm not Hideo Kojima. Like,
It's
I'm just a dude making a game. Like, guys. And then all of a sudden I'm seeing people. I reckon that's CG. I reckon that's CG, and it's like, it's a demo for the game. And I'm like, you people are mentally not well. Like, you're not well. Like, go get help. Like, what's wrong with you?
Gamers are weird.
They're just games.
Gamers are weird.
Games, man. Like,
people are thirsting after PT again.
Hey, that could be the new.
It's all this garbage console warrior. PlayStation's the best. We want all the exclusives. That's all it is. It's all fed by that crap.
Yep.
It's all, and the funny thing is the fact that it's Bloober. If anything, it makes more chance that it'd be Xbox exclusive before it's PlayStation exclusive anyway.
That would be the real hilarious rub, wouldn't it? That it is Silent Hill, and they nail it, and it's exclusive.
And it's Xbox exclusive.
I'd laugh. I'm sorry, I would laugh.
That would be an epic combination.
Yeah,
so funny. And I've never even played a Silent Hill game. Yeah. Could not care less about that.
I always heard they were pretty poor.
No. Apparently,
like one was like Silent Hill 2 was really good. Yeah, that's it.
I don't know. I haven't played them to know, but I loved PT, and PT was supposedly Silent Hills. So
don't
PT
worry.
was awesome.
That's the exclusive Kojima Xbox game you're getting.
That's the only thing I'd care about. The only thing I'd care about.
There you go. But that is pretty much.
I don't care.
That is pretty much all of the news of the week. So I'm sorry to disappoint you right now. There is no rumor mill. We kind of discussed some rumors, but it's not really an official rumor mill unless Nick says, I have a rumor. So we're going to move on and take a moment, ladies and gentlemen, to thank our wonderful patrons. As always, these guys are, helping support everything we do. So a big shout out to Croat56, Blast the Bass, Nodorius, Not Jack, Sowing Shade, Torn Raptor, Crazy Spaz, VK Andrew, Brit, Keris, Nottian, Gabquist, Hexa, J Repper, Kiroi Senko, Cartoon Soldier, Red Sun, Shadowgasm, and Running Riot. We love you guys very, very much. We're on a target. If you don't know, if you're watching this and you're listening to this and you enjoy our podcast and you've been listening to it for a while, we have a goal at the moment to get to 100 patrons. We're on like 70-ish, something like that. We'd love to get to 100. Maybe you should consider it. It's up to you. Doesn't matter, but just the number. There's lots of cool perks. You get a cool exclusive area on our forums to go and visit, and you get to ask us questions, which is what we're about to tackle right now. And thankfully, because it's a quiet week, we might actually have a sub to our podcast because we've only got a few questions this week. I think everyone's on a nice chill out after E3. So what do we got?
So I'd like to start. There was a super chat last week that we forgot to read out. I think it was by Tim Chimney. The name was Tim Chimney. Who asked about if I had any more info on Captain Toad 2. I did reply to him on Twitter, but I'm also going to ask here. He asked, do you have any more details on Captain Toad 2? No, I do not. Like, this stuff is not an exact science, right? Like, I've said this before. I just get DMs, and sometimes those DMs don't say much. I feel like some of the questions I get asked by people, they think I'm looking at some detailed document that outlays everything. That's Jez. That's Jez. Jez has documents. I don't have documents. I have nothing more than Twitter and Discord DMs. That's it. That's all my stuff is. I mean, and there's more to that, like with vetting. But yeah, I just have Discord DMs, and sometimes those DMs will say nothing more than Captain Toad 2 is coming, and that's all I get.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all I get. Or they'll say Quake's happening, female protagonist. And that's it. That's all I get. I get nothing else. Sometimes I have to poke and prod for more, and sometimes I get nothing back. So remember, I've said, what I say, it's what I've been told I can say, or it's all I have to say. If I had more details on Captain Toad 2, I would probably like with the Assassin's Creed one, which funnily enough got no traction whatsoever.
Wait, what was the Assassin's Creed one?
The free to play, that there might be a free to play Assassin's Creed and with raids, no traction anywhere. No articles, no Reddit threads, no nothing. You know why? Because that was the episode where I said BioShock's been money-headed.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what got all the attention.
It'd be interesting to see if that's picked up and maybe we circle back at one point in the future.
But it's just funny. And the irony is that Assassin's Creed one had a lot of detail. I was like, oh, you know, there might be free to play and there could be raids and multiplayer. I was like actually quite detailed about that one. And that's the one that no one cared about.
It's weird, isn't it? Drop a name like BioShock, it gets all the attention.
Well, it's not the BioShock that got the attention. It's the Sony money hat that got the attention.
Fair.
Okay.
Community questions.
I'm sorry, Tim Chimney, but we addressed that now. Okay. DA game. Here's a hypothetical. Xbox buys the following 5 studios. IO Interactive, Kojima Productions, CyberConnect 22, Avalanche, Crytek. How do you announce this to the public? Do you announce when the letter of intent is signed? Do you announce when it closes? Do you reveal them all at one event? Do you prorate them over press releases or events, i.e. IO at Gamescom, CC2 Tokyo Game Show, IO Crytek XO, blah, blah, blah. How would you handle it? Because traditionally Microsoft brings this news to events, but got significant traction shadow dropping ZeniMax. Meanwhile, Sony seems to have dedicated this week to drip feeding out info instead of saving it for their likely imminent showcase. You know what, man? Like, I reckon just stick to the blog posts.
I agree. I actually think the blog posts work great.
No.
Just stick to the blog posts.
What they should do is wait until Sony announces their next state of play and then announce for the 30-minute announce 30 minutes after the Sony state of play that they're going to do an event where they're announcing big things, and then just drop every single studio acquisition in 15 minutes.
Well,
I think just do the blog posts. I think the blog posts are a good way to do it. Let game shows be about games, just like E3 was.
And that was going to be my point, right? Is that Microsoft cast your minds back. When did they do the big acquisition spree? 2018? 2018. Yeah. Cast your minds back. They were in a really, really bad place, right? And that was the first time that they got to say to the people that had stuck with them for so long with very few studios and very few games, okay, yeah, now we're serious, right? And you might not believe us yet, but we're going to make a statement of intent. And go back and listen to Phil Spencer's big gaming vision speech, right? And then look at how things are now. But that big announce with all of the studios, yep, we're now back in it to win it. They had to do that, right? They had to make that big statement. Unfortunately, then they dug this hole where now Xbox fans, predominantly, you know, if you ever cast your eye into the acquisition thread on XboxEra forums, oh boy, those folks are hungry for more corporate buyouts. But unfortunately, Microsoft just set this precedent, and then they continued to set it, but they did a couple more E3. I think they were going to do it again. I think they were going to do it again at this showcase. The show was meant to be 90 minutes, and we came in at like 83 or 84. Right, I think something was cut, whether it was last minute hold-ups. I think you were probably right, Nick, is that they were really trying to get it in for that point, but maybe they couldn't quite get there. Maybe they realised, hey, we're meant to be celebrating the last big acquisition. Let's do that, than talking about the next lot. But I think the blog posts are quiet. They are, you know, they'll go viral on their own through gaming Twitter and forums and whatever. And they do the job, right? And they allow for the right language to be used, and it doesn't celebrate them in the way that winds people up, right? It is just, hey, we're really serious about gaming, and we've now brought these people into our family. Thanks. The end. And then life can continue, and it gives us stuff to talk about every week. So that's what I think they should stick to. Yeah. Sorry, that was a really long answer.
if you want, like Figment's alluded to, you could engineer the announcement timing to screw with others.
Yeah,
be a prick.
Do it. Just
be a prick.
Be a prick. Be a prick.
They're never going to be
Let's
pricks.
do the blog post. Do the blog post, but 15 minutes after Sony's State of Play.
I don't think Phil Spencer is a prick. I don't think he has the heart to be a prick in that way.
He needs to be one.
No, I don't think
he needs to be one. Yeah.
Okay.
Good question,
do I have to do
Diego.
this?
Yes, you have to do
Raptor.
it. He has to do it.
Nick, to read in your best pirate voice. I'm not going to do that.
Come on. It's a Patron question. You got to do it. Come on, me hearties. Eventually, if you speak enough like a pirate for a long time, you turn into a very British farmer anyway.
Ahoy, matey.
I went down on
this
the
here
farm.
question be for Captain Long John Sakamacanago. Tell us all.
They'll do. Okay,
it's your greatest moments while exploring Sea of Thieves. What be the greatest booty ye have found, and what be your latest thought on what Rare be doing right and where you want them to go, and what you think they should add in the future? Now the rest of ye lot pipe down while Captain Long John's mechanical tells us all a tale, or ye lot be walking the plank.
Please do. Nick has to read it in a pirate voice question every week, folks. Honest to God. Oh, that was great. Right, let me catch my breath for a minute because that was very funny. Well done, Nick. Good sport. I'll try not to be too long because I don't want Nick to fall asleep at the wheel. I think what Rare are doing is cool. I am currently reviewing, and I will do an XboxEra review of the latest set of Tall Tales Pirates Life. I have held off because I did not want my thoughts to be clouded by some very horrific bugs in the Tall Tale Chapter 2, which have been patched, but one of my crew is busy this week until Sunday, so Sunday I'll resume, and I'll try and get something out next week with my final thoughts. But I love the game. I wish they would do more with it. There's a lot of stuff that I want them to do that I don't think they ever will. Like, I'd love a Port Royale type scenario where it's a big MMO island and you can go there and you can't kill and you can't get into, just constantly deathmatching each other, but you can like sit down in a bar and play cards or dice or betting or whatever and drinking games and all sorts of silly pirate behavior. I wish that there was Navy ships that came into the Sea of Thieves, which now could through Pirates of the Caribbean crossover. The East India Trading Company could come in and be a new AI threat with massive, double-decker, big old galleon ships, bigger than the current Sea of Thieves galleon, that are a real threat, really worrying to come up against and challenge some of the more knowledgeable players. And in terms of amusing tales, man, I think that's the best thing about Sea of Thieves is there are so many of them. I will give you one. There's two. One very quick one is when we play, or when we played a lot back in the day, it's more like a once a month thing now to not burn out. But we used to, if we logged on at 7 p.m. at night, we would play till 3 in the morning. There is no cashing in until we're either going to go to bed or we lose, right? And there was one particular occasion where we actually found a ship that was doing that, and we were just mind blown that someone out there was actually had so much loot that we were sitting there with a harpoon for like 10 minutes loading it up. So that was cool. But the funniest one that we ever did was when Mega Kegs had just come out. How you doing, Nick? You still awake? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mega Kegs have just come out. These are really, really explosive kegs that just destroy everything. And we were really worrying about carrying them on the ship, but we wanted to sell them. And we dropped them off the ship and marked an X on the map in the hole downstairs to make sure we could go back and get them. And it was rainy, it was windy, and the captain was like, no, let's not go back. We had like 8 hours worth of loot on board, like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of in-game gold, hundreds and thousands of chests, whatever. And I'm down there and I'm like, guys, I think we're coming up on the thing. We're just about to hit. And then there was just this, and it was all gone in an instant because we insisted on getting that one more thing. We sailed into our own kegs that we'd left floating in the ocean. 8 hours of gameplay. There was some rage quitting. So yeah, I love Sea of Thieves for all the good and all the bad. Very fun times. But yeah, good.
If they fix that combat, I'll fully get into it.
Honestly,
we spent 8 hours, lost everything. Great game.
Yeah, because that's the risk, right? And that's when I see people play and they like, oh, I've got a chest, I better cash it in. It's like, come on, man. Like, I'll be honest, I have no interest. I don't care about losing my loot now. I have like 8 million gold. I've got all the cosmetics I want. I can buy anything I want. I'm just in there to see what happens next, which is why the Tall Tales, which are some of the best things you can play. But Nick, man, honestly, I think we should come back in and not worry about the combat so much as in other people. Play for the Tall Tale stories because you will love them. You will have a good time. Anyway, good question.
I need my games to play well.
60 FPS.
Okay. Dirty Flint. Hello, you beautiful boys.
Oh.
Now, we all know Nick has the great opening phrase of what's going on. But what video game character has the greatest catchphrase? For me, it's the phrase Gary Oak uses, and I will now use, smell you later. Who's Gary Oak?
I have no
Professor
idea.
from Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Professor's nephew, the main rival in Pokemon Red.
Smell you
right.
later.
Okay. Is that where that's from?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure Smell You Later came from like a movie.
I thought it
long
was
before
The
Pokemon
Simpsons.
was a thing.
Bart Simpson, I can picture saying smell you later.
Nelson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Nelson.
Thank you.
Where did it come from?
Okay, don't look it up now. Can you continue the question, Nick?
Don't disprove the man live on air. That's cruel.
No, I just want to invent. Its prime usage was in the 1990s, yeah, but I'm pretty sure it was before Pokemon. Anyway, whatever. Greatest catchphrase. I don't know a lot of video game character catchphrases.
I know one.
I know Mario. It's me, Mario. like that's the only catchphrase I know.
One of my favourites from when I was a kid was, and I'll try and do a good impression. It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum, but I'm all out of gum. And Duke Nukem 3D was one of my faves.
I forgot about that.
But yeah, that's probably it. You know, like I could.
I don't know many of them.
I don't think there are. Catchphrases aren't really a thing now. Like it's a very Nintendo thing. Catchphrases, but
wait, no.
Yeah.
Does it count as a catchphrase if you say if Master Chief saying "Wake me when you need me" at the end of Halo 3?
It's not a catchphrase.
But it's like one time. It's not a catchphrase.
It's a snippet from a clip of a script.
Yeah,
right?
But it's one of the most memorable lines in gaming history.
I understand that, but it's not a catchphrase.
Yeah, catchphrase
like "It's a me, Mario" is his catchphrase. Like he says it all the time. Like it's a catchphrase. Not many video game characters have catchphrases.
Waluigi's just simple wah.
That's what I mean. It's a very Nintendo thing, catchphrases.
Yeah, it probably is, because even Sonic doesn't really have one unless it's got to go fast. But that's not even Sonic. That's from the meme, isn't it?
Yeah,
got to go fast.
And Sonic, the thing I remember from an audio perspective is dun 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 dun. You know, drowning, terrifying.
Yeah.
But that's it. Good question though. Fun
favorite line. My favourite line is still "Would you kindly," but that's not a catchphrase.
It's not a catchphrase.
Nothing will ever top "Would you kindly," ever in video games.
It was really
ever.
Good.
God, I wish I could
delete your
black
brain
myself.
Yeah,
I just want to Men in Black myself and play BioShock again, just for that "Would you kindly."
Yes. Mate,
God, it was so good.
When that happened, I was just like,
I freaked out.
So good.
I freaked out. I was like, what is happening right now? And I kept my brain broke. I kept thinking back and going, wait, but if I hadn't done it and I ignored him, what would have happened? Like, would anything have it was.
And that's the thing. No, you had to do it, right? But
you had to do it.
It was the way. That's
so
why games
good.
as a medium, when they do it and they lean into what games are, brilliant.
It was so good. It was so good. Metal Gear Solid 1 has cool stuff like that too. The first Metal Gear Solid, where he screws with the save file and he screws with your TV input, makes you think you've changed your TV input. And Metal Gear Solid 1 has some cool fourth wall stuff too. It's good.
The first Batman Arkham game did with the Scarecrow, where you think the console's crashed and you're like, oh yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, like you're playing it and like, like when you read something. Oh god,
Yeah.
You read some of the things about some of the new PlayStation 5 consoles breaking and all the graphics cards go pink and green. That happened when you were playing, and it was Scarecrow messing with you in game, and because it happens, and you're like, oh, what's happened? And then the game goes through the boot animation again, like it's just loaded back up, and it was really clever, really clever. Loved it. But yeah,
that's cool.
It is cool. It is cool.
That's cool. I didn't play the first Arkham. I played City.
Man.
I didn't play Asylum.
Yeah, it's worth playing even now. Great games.
All right.
Fancy seeing you here.
Okay.
Karis.
Is it? I don't know if you're looking, but see how there's that separated quoted bit? Am I reading that too?
I did read it earlier. I feel like it was edited in after the fact. Like, because she was like, I'm not gonna go to town this week, and then she was like, I'm gonna go to town this week.
Yeah. Hello, panel. No story this week.
That's
Except there's totally a story. Just what I thought was a simple question I kind of lost control over. Anyway, my sister graduated from the Royal College of Art this week and strode purposefully across the stage, arms aloft, and screaming, "Have it!" to receive her MA.
Sorry, I need to interrupt you. I believe in British vernacular, it's "have it" like that. Sorry, I just needed to.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Karis. Anyway, continue.
Whatever. She and I are very alike in our inability and or refusal to act with any formality. It's a scumbag northern thing. So I got to thinking. Imagine you have built a prestigious college of game design to teach developers what to consider while making games. Let's call it, I don't know, Saint Six. I can't think of a funny name. Expo New. X gonna give it to university.
Oh God.
Meh. Carry on. Now this is the part where it kind of separates. By the way, I see Sick as very much the headmaster in this school. Cane, gown, Austin Allegro, and pipe. Figments can be the less stern deputy head with an iPhone and SAA and a Saab. Jesus. It's been so long since I've heard the car brand Saab that I forgot.
I can picture
Saab.
Figments driving a Saab, yeah.
Nick, of course, is the Australian exchange teacher smoking behind the bike sheds and flirting with the sixth form netball team. He drives the sixth form netball team. He drives a TVR Griffith, which he also secretly lives in. What's a TVR Griffith?
Is
that that full on futuristic looking? Yes, I see that. Yes, I know that. But I don't smoke. I would not be smoking.
Disgusting
as I hold
habit.
The fake vape. This is fun, actually. Who else? Notien would have to be the music teacher as he has great taste, and he would drive a Mini Cooper. Jesse could be the geography teacher because he has the air of a geography teacher about him. And he probably looks hot in a corduroy. He rides a bike with those old bike clips. CDox is the IT teacher, and his lab is filled with computers like in the Minority Report, and he drives a concept car which doesn't actually run yet, but it will. I was worried I was going to run out of things to say, but now I've opened the door to XboxEra staff / fanfic. The world is my oyster. Okay, back to the question. That was the
segue.
Segmented part.
I like it. Okay.
Sorry. So what courses would this beacon of learning run, and why? Who would teach these courses? Do you have something you would love to teach but would step aside for someone more qualified? I would love to fill the chair for gaming for everyone, Professor, as it is such an important consideration for developers to have. Yes, it is. I'm stupid, though. So in reality, Microsoft's Casey Joe Wright could teach this course. Over to you. What things do you think you would be valuable to teach new devs, and who is the best to teach them? No running in the halls, and for God's sake, other Jamie. Get that out of your mouth, boy. What would I teach?
I'd like to think you would teach an anti-fanboyism class. How not to be a psychopath about
Really?
gaming.
I thought he would just teach a class on how to make everything like Streets of War, aka the greatest Streets of Rage, aka the greatest game ever made.
I definitely believe I could teach a class on what games to make and not make.
Fair.
I reckon I'd have a keen eye for that. Keen ear, eye, sense.
or insider class, how to post insider teases.
How to come across as someone worth sharing secrets with.
Yeah.
I must be damn good at it.
I would teach a class on how to keep secrets for a very long time. Yeah. What about you, Figments? Any ideas?
I have no clue. I
No
suck
clue.
at everything. So
how to suck at games and get away with
How
it.
to suck at
Five
everything.
Figments.
How to suck at everything and still make my way through life.
There you go. But yeah, I'm
That
kind of
nice.
maybe that's the next step for XboxEra. We'll make a university and teach the next generation.
We'll be like PragerU, but lefty and only gaming.
Yeah, be interesting.
Yep.
Fun times.
Okay. Last question.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Quick this week.
Wow.
It's been a while since we've been able to just get through things quick. Like this, we're barely just over an hour.
I'm impressed. I feel like we've been talking for a lot longer.
Full on. Phalaxis. G'day, gents. Hope you're all doing well this fine day. So, I've been sucked into a new game I bought recently, Power Wash Simulator.
What?
Is that real? It's just so goddamn oddly satisfying to play. Play a podcast or music in the background and just power wash away the day. At first, I was unsure I'd enjoy it, even though it has rave reviews. What's a game that surprised you in terms of like, it can't be as good as people say, but once you try it, you've been blown away and sucked right in? Power Wash. Is that just, do you have just like a...
It's a game on Steam.
We've got a high pressure hose and you just clean stuff.
Yeah, and you're just cleaning stuff.
Okay, can someone come and do my drive, please?
Wow.
97% people like this video game.
Wow.
I kind of want to play it.
It's full on got rave. It really does have rave reviews.
Oh man.
One of the taglines under key features is good, clean, fun.
Yeah. But like, if you think about it, like, that's the thing. Like, even a game like that, even if you can do something silly and basic, if you make it really high quality and polished, there's something to be said about that. Like, I bought this dumb game on PlayStation I basically paid for free platinum trophies. That's effectively what you're doing. And the game is My Name is Mayo, right? And the entire game is there's a cursor on the screen, it's a finger like this, and you can move it around with the analog stick, and then you just mash X and tap on this glass of mayo for hours on end. That's all you do.
Okay, so
and
it's
after
like
a while,
cookie clicker, whatever it is on.
I guess.
Yeah.
And after a few hours, you'll have a platinum trophy. But the game is actually shockingly polished and well done.
Yeah.
Like, the menus are super snappy and clean and work well. The game is, in its art style and everything's really nice and everything works super well. It's like surprisingly polished. So it doesn't offend as much as it should. So I look at something like Power Wash Simulator and I think if that's the same kind of thing, it's a silly game, but like if it's really polished and well done, maybe that's why it's getting such good reviews. As to the question, because we started to go off there, what's a game that surprised me? I know everyone's going to roll their eyes at this answer, but Rocket League. Like, when I was told Rocket League is soccer with cars, and I saw the trailers for it, I'm like, this is so dumb. And I know that supersonic acrobatic rocket-powered battle cars, which is the original before Rocket League, because Rocket League is technically a sequel. The first game was on PS3 and did not do well at all. And I think the name played a massive role in that, because I think gameplay-wise, it's pretty much identical to Rocket League. So yeah, my answer is Rocket League. When someone tells you it's soccer but with cars, you're like, that sounds so dumb. And I didn't even like it when I first played it. But now it's the greatest thing ever. So my answer is Rocket League.
It's really bugging me. There it is. I could, for a minute there, I thought I couldn't find it. Talking of games like Mayo, right, and I would wholeheartedly recommend, because this surprised me, and of course, when I look at the publisher now on Android, of course it's going to be a fun game, because Devolver Digital have some very keen eye for fun. There's a game you can get on Android, and I presume on iOS, right? That's called an idle clicker. That's the genre. That's what Mayo is when you're describing it there. It's called Space Plan. It's old, right? It is old. It's got something like 50,000 plus downloads. Here's a recommendation from me to you. Go and put it on your phone now. Do it now while you're listening to this podcast. Go and look up Space Plan. The logo is a black, an a red circle with a meteor thingy at the end. I'm not going to tell you what the game's about. Go in blind, and you'll be surprised, A, how addictive it is, B, how often you'll check back, C, how much you'll smirk or smile, and D, you'll be surprised at how much you want to see it through. I'm not going to say any more than that. There's a game that surprised me, because I don't do mobile gaming particularly. The only other one I would give an honourable mention to is another mobile game called Subterfuge, which is played in real time against real friends, where you control a battalion of submarines and everything plays out in real time. And man, I have never had so many alarms wake me up at 3 a.m. to launch a surprise attack, so that when my friends woke up at 7, they'd be like, oh no, he's had 4 hours to start moving his fleet. And it got very, very real. Yeah.
I just watched a video of Power Wash Simulator.
You're going to buy it, aren't you?
I can totally see why. That is one of those games that people just like. You just sit there, the high pressure hose, and you just.
It's funny. I've got a pressure washer coming on Monday to finish doing my patio, because I've been working on the garden for the last couple of weeks, and to clean up my driveway. And I'm actually really looking forward to having that like big patch of dirt, and then slowly and methodically just slowly carving it away and returning it to cleanliness.
I don't use it enough. I should use it more.
But yeah, that's a good question. What about you, Figments? Any games that have genuinely surprised you that you loaded up?
You thought would be dumb?
Yeah.
The thing is, like, it's hard to really think of one, because I don't like spending my money on games I'm not going to like. Like, I know for a fact I'm not going to like. Or I'm just hesitant of, like...
But that's the point.
Whether or not I'll...
You don't know
I know. I don't know. But the thing is, like... That's the thing. I don't spend money on chances. I don't gamble. I don't bet money with anyone. Like,
that's what Game Pass is for.
Yeah, that's what Game Pass is for. But to be fair, I've been busy with a lot of different things right now, so like I haven't had a chance to go through the Game Pass list and pick out something. But honestly, I would think recent history-wise, Among Us really surprised me, because I thought it would be another one of those games where it's like, oh, this is really fun to watch, like content creators play, because like
it went viral, and that's where you were probably first heard of it.
It went viral. It went viral. That's where I first heard of it. I'm like, okay, this looks really cool to like watch other people I know or watch content creators I enjoy play this, because I'll get infinitely more entertainment out of that than I will playing it with my own friends. And when the hell am I going to get 10 people online at once to play a full lobbies match, you know? And it's like, I didn't know how fun it was till at my birthday last year. I had a bunch of friends over, and we were all hanging out. It was 10 of us, and we're like, screw it. Among Us is on phones. Why don't we just all download it and play a game or two, just to see how it is. And we ended up playing for 6 hours.
Yeah, it's brilliant fun. Lots
it's
and lots
just
of fun.
like,
I still don't get it.
No?
It surprised the hell out of me how how much fun it was. Because it doesn't feel like as much of a video game, if that makes sense. It feels like a board game on your phone, in that whole, like, you're sitting around, you're like playing with a bunch of friends together, like having fun with something that's very simple, very like straightforward rule set, and it's just a blast to play with, with everyone around. It's just ridiculous how much that game surprised me.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go. Well, I think that is probably one of the shortest XboxEra podcast episodes in quite some time.
Let's
Maybe
make
Power
them
Wash
always
Simulator
this
should-
short, by the way.
Power
Maybe-
Wash Simulator should come to Game Pass.
Yeah, I'm
Oh, heck
I'm actually gonna go load up Steam and maybe just check that out. All right, don't judge me.
Oh yeah, on Windows 11, huh? Thank God it didn't crash this entire time.
Hey, yeah, there you go. I installed Windows 11 on my daily driver PC at great risk to the podcast and life itself, and everything's been fine.
He couldn't have installed it on a virtual machine like a normal person. No, he had to daily drive in not even beta because he's in the dev channel to get the updates and an alpha OS to
I don't want
just
to
because
risk it.
he just wants the new shiny.
I do,
Is what I'm hearing.
and
I
it's
don't wanna
very
risk it.
shiny. It's nice. Honestly, I'm surprised. I asked plenty of people first, and everyone was like, "Yeah, it's been fine for me." And I'm like, "Well, okay." I had to do a bit of fiddling in my BIOS to turn on TPM, but hey,
I don't want to risk it.
it's very quick. It's very quick.
Don't wanna risk
I like it. I like it a lot. But yeah,
I don't risk it.
go on, risk
I
it.
have not had good experiences with Microsoft and insider programs. I had an Xbox One's Blu-ray drive written off by the preview program, and then when I said to Microsoft, "Hey, your preview program wrote off my Blu-ray drive. What are you going to do about it?" And Microsoft was like, "Nothing." So I was like, "I'm not going to be in the preview program anymore."
Fair enough.
And then not long after that, they changed their policy and said they will cover
If we
stuff
break
that
something,
they wreck.
yeah.
Too late for them.
Well,
But luckily, it was still under the manufacturer under the retailer warranty, so I just got it swapped for another one.
nice. Speaking of insider programs, one quick public service announcement. Earlier this week, Unishek, community manager for 343 Industries, who are developing Halo Infinite, have said in no uncertain terms, if you want to play Halo Infinite before release, join the insider program. If you're not an insider, and I think I said it a couple of weeks ago, I said I'll doubt there'll be a genuine open public beta. And I'm leaning towards that I was right. Join the insider program if you want to play. I've signed up. I am fervently waiting. So if you really want to get your Halo
is that
on,
separate to the Xbox Insider program?
yes, this is
It is.
this is
It's
via
the Halo
Waypoint.
Insider program.
Yeah, it's via Waypoint. Go sign up. You can. I think you can sign up for either PC or Xbox console. It's quick. It's
I might do
easy.
that.
I did it yesterday in about 5-10 minutes. Go and do it. Maybe we'll have some Halo on our plates later on in a few
I
months.
might do that.
And yeah, I think that last little tidbit of information is going to draw this week's episode to a close. Next week, we will be back live. I have no idea if we're going to have a guest. We might have someone super cool on. It might just be the usual crew, just hanging out and chatting with all of the community. We'll find out. We'll let you know. We'll be in
Except not
touch.
showing the chat anymore.
Yeah, we've got a new thingy. I've been told off, not allowed to show the chat because you guys are embarrassing. That's what Nick said. That's what he said.
I don't think we're going to take that gamble anymore.
But yeah, so
I'm surprised we didn't think of it earlier, to be completely honest.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll tell you what though. I have installed Space Plan while we've been speaking, and I'm like, it's just that little white square. You'll love it. Honestly, it's really good. Anyway, right, that's it. We're out. We'll love you lots. We'll catch you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Yep. Ciao for now.
See you, everyone.